So picture this. A little kid's just chilling at a restaurant, munching on his food when, boom, his chair starts floating midair. His mom, Miss Leon, reacts quick, slamming her leg down on the chair to keep him grounded. Yeah, her kid, Bong Seok, ain't your average boy. He got a secret. Whenever he gets all up in his feelings, his body mass drops, and he just starts floating like a balloon. His mama, she trying to keep that power on the low. So she takes him far away, rents this big empty building, drops a fat stack of cash, and tells the landlord, don't show up here for 3 years. She want to live off the grid with her son. Quiet life, no drama. There, she trains him to control his powers, keep both feet on the ground, literally. Fast forward a few years, they move again and open up a restaurant. But Bong Seok? Still not allowed to kick it with other kids. He always watching from the sidelines, craving that normal life. One day, he sneaks out to a park and watches some boy flexing, jumping off a tall metal bar while kids cheer. Bong Seok climbs up, leaps off, and yup, he flies. Kids be like, what? But in the shadows, this old dude sitting in a black car sees everything. Next day, Bong Seok's school calls up Miss Leon. It turns out another kid tried to copy Bong Seok's stunt and got wrecked. Now, Mama's mad. She tells Bong Seok, real heroes don't show off. They feel other people's pain and protect them. That night, it's raining hard. Bong Seok crying on the rooftop, floating again because his feeling's too heavy. He barely catches onto a rope before he floats away. Mama saves him just in time. More years pass. Bong Seok wakes up from a dream. Mama cooks up a feast to weigh him down. She even drops extra weights in his school bag to keep him grounded. He hops on the school bus and spots a girl sprinting to catch it. She fine, and Bong Seok instantly catching feelings. Girl's name? Huisu. She broke, can't even pay the bus fare, so Bong Seok covers for her. But whenever Who's around, his emotions spike, and he starts floating again. To distract himself, he closes his eyes and starts reciting Pi 3.14159. At school, he chugs water just to get heavier, because now that Who's in his class, the usual weights ain't enough. Who introduces herself in her old school uniform, because her fam can't afford a new one. She ends up sitting right next to Bong Seok. Now, he really struggling to stay grounded. Literally. Their teacher, Mr. Choi, notices Who's athletic build and tells her she should major in sports. He sends the class prez, Kong Hoon, to show her the gym. But Kang Hoon, he ain't just a tour guide. He goes back to Mr. Choi and asks why Who can't study normal subjects like the rest. Choi's like, her dad broke. Can't afford anything else. If she goes sports, she might land a scholarship. Next day, raining hard again. Bong Seok sees Who running to school in a raincoat. They both late, rushing through the gates. Who bumps into Bong Seok by accident and boom. Boy goes airborne and lands hard. Now he got a busted knee. Teacher tells them both, you can go in, but y'all clean in bathrooms later. They agree. In class, Who starts feeling self-conscious. Thinks she smells. She asks Bong Seok for a shirt. He gives it to her. She heads to the bathroom to change. But two dudes lurking. Kang Hoon watching over her, trying to protect her. And Bang Ki-soo? Creepin'. Kang Hoon steps in, blocks Ki-soo from spying. Tension builds. Ki-soo gets salty, challenges Kang Hoon to a fight. They head to the woods behind the school. At first, Kang Hoon all calm and cool, but once they throw hands, yeah, Kang Hoon's got hands. So check this. That fight between Kang Hoon and Ki-soo, over real quick. Turns out Kang Hoon got powers too. Dude wipes the floor with Ki-soo and even helps him limp back into the forest like, don't mess with me again. Meanwhile, back in class, Mr. Choi's teaching as usual, then calls Kang Hoon to his office for a private talk. Elsewhere, Bong Seok and Who sneak off for lunch together. While they eatin', Bong spots injured Kai-soo limping down the road. He want to ask what happened, but Who stops him like, He ain't your boy, let it go. Later, they head back to school. Bathroom duty still waiting. On the way, Loki tries to get Bong Shok to spill the tea about his secret, but Bong Shok swerves that convo real smooth. While he's cleaning the bathroom, grabs some ointment to patch up his injured knee. He messed it up earlier at the school gate. But the second touches him, boom, Bong Seok's emotions start spiking. He tries to think of something else, anything, but it's too late. Luckily, steps out the room before he straight up floats off again. Meanwhile, back at the restaurant, Miss Leon, busy as ever, serving non-stop customers. But whose dad, Jang Ju-won? He's struggling. His place dead quiet, no orders, no deliveries, but his whole menu ready. When nothing sells, he eats it himself and pretends like business is booming just so don't feel bad. Sees through it, though. She tells him she's grinding hard to get into the sports major, so he doesn't got to work himself to the bone. Elsewhere, this dude named Frank just touched down at the airport. A van waiting for him. He changes clothes, finds a file in the truck. It's got a hit list. Yup, Frank's a killer on a mission. He hits up his first target, an old man named Junin, who's secretly a beast in combat. They throw hands. Frank's getting hit, but he keeps healing. Real fast. In the end, Frank wins, tosses Junin off a skyscraper, and just walks away like nothing happened. Miss Leon sees the news about Junin's death. Something feeling real off. She spots the same van outside the crime scene. She starts prepping her weapons, like war's coming. She heads out to check the scene, and guess who's there? Whose dad? Ju-won. Yeah, he's got secrets too. Meanwhile, Frank moving to his next target. Another older dude who can control electricity. Frank cuts the power to throw him off. The old guy fights back using a battery pack. But once that power runs out, Frank grins, burns down his library, and takes him out. Later, Frank finds a photo of the old guy's son. Dude used to go to the same school Bong Seok's at now. So Frank posts up outside the school. But the school guard makes him leave, then secretly calls someone, warning them about Frank. Next morning, the guard installs a new camera at the main gate. Bong Seok notices the bus driver's new today, but still hops in. He sees running toward the bus in her usual raincoat, late again. After school, out on the track field practicing her running drills, but the lights are off. So Bong Seok slips inside and lights up the whole school just to help her. Later, Mr. Choi teaches how to jump higher and throw long distance. Because of this, she ends up missing dinner at the mess hall. So Bong Seok? He shares his meal with her, no hesitation. Then Mr. Choi tells Kang-hoon to turn on the fans in the gym, so don't get overheated while practicing. Kang-hoon does it, but then just stands there, watching her jump. Bong Seok walks in and sees mid-jump. Suddenly, she slips, and Bong Seok flies over to catch her, but they both hit the floor. Kang-hoon sees it all. Now he knows Bong Seok's secret. Ends up fine, and later she asks Bong Seok to help her train. Since he's heavy, he can hold her feet while she does crunches. But being that close? Touching the girl he likes? It's a wrap. Bong Seok tries to keep it together by thinking about Pi again, but one glance at her face and boom. He lifts off and crash lands. Helps him up. The janitor walks in so they bounce out quick. But Kang-hoon? He's heated. He wants to be the one helping not watching someone else. Out of nowhere, he shows off, jumping high and smacking the wall with full force. Next day, still trying to figure out Bong Seok's secret. He keeps dodging her questions like a pro, so she tricks him, asks him to grab her shoes from the gym. Then she follows him without telling him. They sit on the stairs. Bong Seok puts his bag down to look inside. Right then, touches his injured knee to patch it up again. But, no weights on him this time. He starts floating again. Quickly slaps his heavy bag back on him, trying to hold him down. She even hugs him to calm him, but that just makes it worse. And guess what? Security cameras catch all of it. The school guards watching everything. Later, helps Bong Seok get home. He keeps floating every few steps, and she got to keep yanking him back to Earth. At the door, Miss Leon welcomes her in with a smile. She's shocked and happy to finally see her son with a real friend. They sit down for dinner. Miss Leon cooks up a feast. Bong-seok tells Hoo how his mom always makes him eat a ton so he gains weight. Then he shows her his room. It's fully padded, every wall covered in foam. Why? So he don't get hurt when he floats without warning. Bong-seok's mama been holding it down since day one. His room? Spotless, cushioned up like a padded dream, all to protect him whenever he floats off randomly. Now, Hoo already knows Bong-seok got a thing for her, so she starts messing with him, leaning in real close, teasing him. And boy literally hits the ceiling. His emotions go boom, and he shoots up to the roof. She laughs, then hands him a heavy weight, just to bring him back down to earth, sitting him on the bed. Then boom, Hoo drops her own bomb. She likes him too. Meanwhile, Miss Leon, with her next-level senses, peeps what's going on and decides to give them space. She even tells Bong-seok to walk his girl to the bus stop. She's a lady, she shouldn't be going home alone. So Bong-seok throws on his raincoat and dashes outside, ditching the heavy weight just so he can fly. He finally finds Hoo and walks her to the stop, all sweet and proper. But while that's going down, Frank's out here taking lives. His next target? An old lady barber. He pretends like he just wants a haircut. But he starts asking questions about her kids. She ain't buying it. Boom. 2 scissors straight to his head. But Frank heals like a machine, shrugs it off. Turns out this old lady's gifted too. She can see through walls and doors. They throw down. It's intense. But Frank ends it. Before she dies, he demands info on her kids. She says nothing. He coldly replies, "I'll see him at your funeral," and walks away. Just then, Ju-won, Hoo's dad, pulls up to that same building to deliver food. He bumps into Frank, asks for directions to a mobile shop. Frank casually gives him the location and dips. Ju-won finishes the delivery but forgets the card reader. The shop owner mocks him. Ju-won keeps it classy, says nothing, walks off. Next day, Bong-seok's headed to school. But it's actually a holiday. He lies to his mom about extra classes, but he's really going to help Hoo train in the gym. They meet up, but both are like, what's with the giant handprint on the wall? Hoo thinks Bong-seok did it by floating. He denies it. Then he asks Hoo how she ain't freaking out over his powers like most folks would. She pauses, then drops a teaser. I got a secret too. Bong-seok promises to keep it. Then Hoo hits him with, didn't it seem weird to see a transfer student like me show up in the final year? Bong-seok starts connecting the dots. Maybe she got into trouble? She nods, but there's more. Flashback time? Hoo and her dad lived out in the sticks after her mom passed. Dad worked in a mine. She went to school. At school, there was this rich girl, Shin Ha-won, who kept getting bullied by a bunch of mean girls. Teachers ain't do nothing. Warnings, that's it. So the bullies got bold, threatened Ha-won with a knife. One kid tried to defend her, got beat down by the bully's boyfriend. That's when Hoo snapped. She dragged them bullies out to the schoolyard and beat the brakes off them. They used blades, bit her, but Hoo's wounds healed like magic. They were shook. Next day, her dad got called in. School blamed Hoo for everything. No visible injuries, no proof it was self-defense. Ju-won had to sell their house to cover the medical bills for the bullies. Left with nothing. If he lost the mining job, they couldn't survive. Outside school, Hoo asked her dad straight up, "What's wrong with me? Why don't I get hurt?" Ju-won finally told her. She's gifted, and her mom didn't want her to know. Back to the present. Hoo tells Bong-seok that the old man who's been watching him, that's the school principal, Jo Rae-hyuk. He offered Hoo another chance to graduate at Bong-seok's school. That's how she ended up there. Next morning, Ju-won goes back to that mobile shop to get paid, but the building's swarming with high-level suits. Turns out someone got murked in there overnight. Government heads, national intelligence folks, they all investigating. Mr. Min, high up in the system, hears about the deaths of multiple gifted individuals. He sues about the CIA being involved. Then Principal Joe Ray Hyuk steps in. He's been working on the National Talent Development Project, gathering all the gifted teens into one school. That's why Bong Seok, Hu, and others all ended up there. But Mr. Min warns him, be careful. These assassinations ain't random. Looks like all the targets had kids enrolled in your school. Elsewhere, Frank shows up at the barber lady's funeral. He's trying to fish for info on her kid, but nothing comes up. Meanwhile, the son of the electric old man Frank killed earlier? Yeah, he's there too. Name's Cho-won. He can control electricity just like his dad. After the service, Frank bounces, leaves the van behind. Now we get Cho-won's backstory. Dude's a bus driver now, but his life's been real. As a kid, he showed electric powers early. Got transferred to Joe Ray Hyuk's school just like the others. Mr. Choi tried to push him towards sports, but Cho-won wasn't feeling it. Still, he trained. On graduation day, surprise, Mr. Choi tells him to pursue mass communication instead. Dude ends up auditioning for a kid's superhero TV show, plays a hero named Bungan. He stuns the judges with real electric powers, lands the gig, becomes famous. But during one live show, his glove rips. Electric surges go wild. Kids scream, panic erupts. And just like that, his hero career? Over. A couple days later, Cho-han's pops told him to stop sulking and start job hunting again. But no matter where he applied, man got nothing but rejections. Then one day, while he's eating in some diner, he sees a bus driver stressing over a dead battery. Now Cho-han got that spark, literally. So he walks up, lays hands on that battery, boom, it's alive. The bus driver, turns out he owns the whole bus, is shook and grateful, so he's like, you want a job? And just like that, Cho-han becomes a bus driver, picking up Bong Seok every morning on the way to school. Now, back to the present, Cho-han's still angry. Dude wants revenge for his dad's murder. His boss tells him to take a break, chill for a few days, but Cho-han's like, nah, I'm staying on the grind. Keeping busy. Next day, guess who strolls back into school? Kizu. Boy's finally back after Gang-hoon whooped him hard. And not just that, there's a new transfer student in class. Rich girl alert, it's Shen Hyen, the same girl who threw hands for at her last school. Lunchtime rolls around. Shen Hyen sits with Bong Seok and Hu like they've been friends for years. Then some nosy vlogger kid rolls up talking about how there's tension between Kizu and Gang-hoon. Right then, Kizu walks up, throws his leftover food into Gang-hoon's tray, disrespect level 100, and even drops Gang-hoon's glasses right into the mess. He taunts him, saying he knows Gang-hoon won't fight in public, but he's going to expose him soon. Bong Seok quietly takes the glasses, cleans them. Hu gives them back to Gang-hoon and tells him, you did good not fighting back. Real strength is keeping cool. Gang-hoon actually smiles, touched by her words, and heads out. Meanwhile, over at NIS, the secretary tells Mr. Min that they confirmed, yeah, Frank's a CIA hitman sent to wipe out all the retired agents with powers. Mr. Min says, call the U.S. ambassador now. Back in the gym, Bong Seok's playing some soft music for Hu. Vibes are high, they're real close. But just before Bong Seok starts floating, Hu throws weights on him like she already knew. Bong Seok leaves the phone playing music and heads to class. When he comes back, the phone's dead, and panic hits. His mom told him never to let that phone die, so he rushes home. He catches Cho-han's bus and tells him he missed him. Cho-han smiles, but deep down he's heating up, because Frank, the man who killed his father, just got a new assignment. And the target is Miss Lee Ha-yeon, Bong Seok's mom.